Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Off the Dome podcast. It is season 3, episode 8. I didn't record a podcast episode last week. It was the first week that I took off of the NBA season. I'm just going to lower the volume real quick here. All right. That's probably a little bit better. Last week I didn't record a podcast episode because man was sick. All right. I'm not going to apologize for that. I was about to say I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. Today we got a little bit to catch up on. There's a new segment that I want to introduce. And I hope you guys do enjoy. Actually, there's a few new segments I want to introduce. I started watching some college basketball because last year I didn't watch any college ball, and I kind of regret it. But this year I've seen 2 games already, both of which are 2 top 5 teams going at each other. And I get that college basketball isn't always that, but the games that I've seen have been really exciting to watch. The first one I saw was Gonzaga against UCLA, and now it was a 1 seed versus 2 seed, and Gonzaga just blew them out. But it was still kind of cool to watch because Gonzaga is just really good. And then I saw Gonzaga Duke the other day, and that was a great game. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Games this week, just going over quickly, weekly recap. That's something that I want to start doing, kind of running through, giving you all the rundown on what happened last week. I tried to turn that into an Office reference, but I could not with the word rundown there. My favorite plays of the year so far. If I'm not lazy, which I will not be, I will be talking or going over my favorite plays of the year so far, and you'll be seeing them on the screen as you're watching this on YouTube, all right? So you're welcome for that because that took extra effort, something that I don't really do a lot. And then going over college basketball, the MVP rankings are looking pretty good. Right now, there's a few new players getting into the top 5 right now. The top 3 are pretty cemented in place, or at least the top 2 are for sure. And then I'm going to be reacting to the NBA standings right now as of Sunday, November the 28th at 10:11 p.m. Pacific time, just to get really specific there. Because the standings are, I just kind of glanced at them, really started to look at them maybe yesterday, and there's been quite a few changes, a few teams that are in spots where I wouldn't have expected them to be in before the season started. So we're going to get into that. We'll start with games this week, though. Let's quickly recap what happened in the NBA this week, starting on Monday, the 22nd, and working to Sunday, the 28th. Recapping this week, the Lakers and Pacers. We saw that game going to overtime on Wednesday night, 124-116 for the Lakers. LeBron put up 39 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, hit a big shot, hit some wacky celebrations. Also on Wednesday, the Golden State Warriors 116-96. It was Seth Curry versus Steph Curry against the Philadelphia 76ers. Seth Curry had 24 points, Steph Curry had 25 points, 20-point blowout. It was still a fun game, though. Philadelphia was leading for a little bit, for quite a while. No Joel Embiid. On Friday, the Celtics and the Spurs played. The only reason why I had this here is because the Spurs won. They won one game this week, and put that in here. Spurs, DeJounte Murray, 29 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. That's just what you get out of DeJounte Murray consistently, man. Maybe not the points there, but everything else pretty legit. Also on Friday, the Pelicans snuck one out against the Utah Jazz, 98-97. It looked like the Jazz had that game in hand, but then Devontae Graham hit a big game-winning three-pointer with like a second left on the clock. Kings beat the Lakers in triple overtime as well on Friday, 141-137 for the Kings. The describing word I have here is madness. I didn't even write anybody's player stats beside the name. I just put the word madness because it was madness. I thought Lakers had it in the first OT. I thought they had it. They joked it away, and Buddy Hield. Holy shit, that man was draining shots left, right, and center. Big threes. De'Aaron Fox had a great game. I think Russell Westbrook had a triple-double. On Saturday, the Wolves took down the 76ers 121-120. In double overtime, D'Angelo Russell hit some big shots down the stretch in regulation and in first overtime. I think he hit a big shot in second overtime as well. Joel Embiid at 42 points in the 1-point loss. On Saturday, the Suns beat the Nets 113-107. The matchup of the 2 of the hottest teams in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns, really showing their dominance and really showing that this team is for real. KD put up 39 points. And finally, the Hornets beat the Rockets, the Rockets beat the Hornets 146-143 in overtime as well on Saturday. Crazy overtime game there. That's what happened this week. Those are the main notable games that I can remember, and then I look through all the games on ESPN. So if I missed something there, let me know. If I missed a stand-up performance, let me know that as well, because I try to get all the big performances. LeBron's 39 points. It was Joel Embiid's 42 points. KD had 39 points. There was some great performances. And Russ Westbrook, I think, had 2 big triple-doubles, like 30-point triple-doubles last week as well. It was a good week of basketball. It really was. There was something, a little bit of everything every single night. It was good fun. Next up, my favorite plays of the year so far. We're a quarter of the way through the year. This is a new segment I want to do. I'm going to show y'all the plays here real quick. First thing is, I got to just quickly find them right here. I've written them all down. The first play that I want to shout out, going over my favorite players of the year so far, just so we can quickly remember, look back real quick here on what we've already seen in the NBA, because we've seen a lot more crazy plays than I had thought. Like, you know, I always expect, because I follow Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, and a bunch of other pages on Instagram, and, you know, a bunch of pages on TikTok, that I'll see all the major highlights there are to see. But I was looking through a couple of videos on NBA.com where they recap the best players of the year so far. Some of the plays that I haven't seen, I haven't seen posted anywhere. And so some of these plays you might not have seen. A lot of them you probably have, though. Starting off with my favorite plays of the year so far, Luka Doncic's crazy game winner versus the Boston Celtics. I'm just going to let y'all watch this real quick.
AP comes all the way out to the logo. Here's the switch. It's Luka against Josh Richardson. Left side of the floor. Luka's three. It's a ring.
Born to get down.
Luka Magic on a Saturday night at American Airlines Center.
I don't have words.
Up next is the Showtime Bulls, man. Good God almighty. Alex Caruso with the hustle play. Vucevic gives it to Lonzo Ball with the baseball pass to Zach LaVine for the 360 dunk, man. That was insane.
Comes Finney-Smith. Oh, Caruso's in the passing lane. Hit the deck and stole it.
Caruso's everywhere. They foul Caruso.
Ball to LaVine. Showtime!
Oh, 360. Get mad, Zach LaVine. Get mad. Zach, you can't do that. Can't do that.
The signature dunk of the season from LaVine. His frustrations got the best of him. He got teed up. But this place is lit. 14-point lead.
Staying on the topic of dunks, my next favorite player of the year, Ja Morant, man. This man is an athletic freak in nature. Look at this insane alley-oop against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Melton. Lob. Oh, baby! Goodness.
I thought Melton had thrown this and no way could get it. Morant again catches it behind. Watch this. He's behind him. He catches it, partner. Throws it down.
Full extension by Morant.
4 down, 3 to go. My next one is Karl Anthony Towns' game-tying 3 against the Grizzlies, fading away from near half court. This man drains it off glass.
Again will be the inbounder. Reed gets it to Towns, lets it fly from deep. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Cats land on their feet, and Towns somehow banks that in.
You could tell it was going to get there, and there was so much arc on the basketball. It banks in.
I got one more from Ja Morant, the 360 layup, man. I remember John Wall used to do this move a lot, but seeing Ja Morant do this, man, it really reminded me of prime John Wall.
Is off. Denver does not have a foul to give. Morant, a 360 spin and a finish. How ridiculous is that? Oh my, he's a bad man.
And finally, a player that y'all might not have heard of, and I certainly didn't really hear of until he did what I'm about to show you. Greg Brown, I think the second or third. Greg Brown, the through-the-legs dunk in game.
Notably, but also a lot of NBA scouts. You've got a chance to prove who you are as a player. Bol throws it behind the back pass.
The breakaway by Greg Brown as Bol was getting a tongue lashing from Stan Van Gundy. And one of the highlights of the night.
Greg Brown is actually the first player to complete a through-the-legs dunk in game since Ricky Davis did back in 2003. I'll show you that right now as well.
They're going to come in here needing a win. They're going to come at the Cavs strong. Then they got to go to Minnesota, who's won 14 straight at home.
That's right. Former Cincinnati Bearcat Kenny Satterfield turned it over, and Ricky Davis will bring some flavor to that.
So those are my favorite plays of the year so far. It's been kind of crazy, and there's so many more plays that I can go over. There's been Harrison Barnes hit a game-winning three-pointer, a buzzer beater. There's been a bunch of other good plays that have happened, but I just wanted to go over my favorite ones, the ones that I enjoyed watching the most, my favorite highlights, really. By the way, I just remembered I bought a shirt at Uniqlo the other day, and I didn't even try it on to see if it fit or not. But I got home and tried it on, and it fits so perfectly. Like, I am so proud of myself. I don't know. I went back today to Uniqlo and got like the same shirt in 2 different other colors. I think I have 4 shirts now of this, just in different colors. I got one XL though, for leg day, obviously. Those are my favorite players, or my favorite plays of the season so far. That's what happened in the game so far. We kind of got the season recap. Now let's look forward. Actually, real quick, the college hoops. I wanted to just talk a little bit about college hoops because I started watching college basketball, and I wanted to make it a habit where I just watch good college basketball games because I'm going to tell you, there's, as a basketball fan, there are few feelings that are better than watching a player in college, in university, especially if they're not like the most hyped up player out there. Watching a good player in college and university, seeing that player get drafted into the NBA, and then seeing him ball out in the NBA, and you're like, yo, I knew who that guy was back in the day when I was watching college ball. That's like the best feeling ever. It really is. It's like you are your own scout. Even if you didn't think that player was going to be that good or anything, the fact that you watched him in college, you watched him before he got famous, it's like when you hear a song before it gets famous. You know what I mean? Or you hear an artist, or you listen to an artist's music before he blows up or she blows up. It's the same thing here. You know, and even if the player isn't the biggest superstar ever, for me it's Dante DiVincenzo. I remember watching Dante DiVincenzo at Villanova. He wasn't even starting at Villanova. I think Miles Bridges was on that team. There's a few other good guys. Eric Paschal was on that team. Guys are in the NBA now. DiVincenzo was a 6th man at Villanova, and I remember he went off in the national championship game. He would put up 31 points, I think, in 2019. But he had some great games before that. And I remember this Dante DiVincenzo guy, the name always stuck in my head, and he got drafted to the Bucks, won a championship last year. He didn't get traded. Yeah, no, he won a championship. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty sick to see. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm watching college basketball this year now. That's my thing. I'm gonna start watching a little bit more college basketball because I live close to Spokane, Washington. I live in Canada, but the home team where I am on the West Coast is Gonzaga Bulldogs. That's the home team for college basketball. It's sort of like how the Seattle Seahawks are the home team in the NFL. It's just like the closest geographically team that is actually good. All right, and Gonzaga are good as shit. Number 1 Gonzaga versus number 2 UCLA. They had a crazy run in March Madness last year. They were the 11th seed. The last time Gonzaga and UCLA played, Jalen Suggs, who's in the NBA right now in the Orlando Magic, hit a crazy half-court banking shot. I think it was in overtime to win the game, or at the end of regulation. Crazy. All right, so everyone's hyped up for number 1 Gonzaga versus number 2 UCLA, and the game starts, and right away you can tell Gonzaga, man, this man Drew Timme with the mutton chops is built different. Chet Holmgren, the number 1 prospect in the NBA draft now, this man is an absolute menace to society. I'm gonna shout. There's a few other guys whose names I don't know off the top of my head, but I have to shout them out because they're absolute fucking ballers. And UCLA is not a pushover team, but Gonzaga was up by like 25, 10 minutes into the game. It was sort of anticlimactic, and I was expecting a bit more of a dramatic game. Real quick, let me find the Gonzaga versus Gonzaga versus UCLA game, just so I can read off some of the players' names on Gonzaga who went off. There's the thing with college basketball is there's so many games that happen every day, so I have to scroll through like all these games between 2 unranked teams that no one really cares about. And then Gonzaga as well, I'll just continue on this point. Gonzaga was playing, who was it? It was Duke. Number 1 Gonzaga versus. Why can't I fucking find this shit? God damn. Oh, there it is. Gonzaga versus UCLA. Yeah, Chet Holmgren is just built different. He had 15 points in that game. Drew Timmy's an absolute problem. Andrew Nemhard as well in the Gonzaga Bulldogs, so 24 in that game. Guys like Andrew Nemhard, Bolton's really good. They have another guard, Julian Strother is an absolute baller as well. And they have Salas on the bench, Hunter Salas coming off the bench. Gonzaga's got a really stacked team right now, and I think they're my pick to win March Madness. But I don't know, I say that now, but I think it'll be Gonzaga or Duke, one of those two teams. Excuse me, who will win March Madness. And then going forward now to the Duke game, because there's one man on Duke that I really want to talk about, and I think that Chet Holmgren's really good. All right, Chet Holmgren's an absolute baller. He's going to be top 5 pick in the NBA, barring something crazy in the draft. You know, some crazy injury or if he just falls off a cliff. Chet Holmgren's, I mean, he's not to be messed with. But Duke's got a few dogs of their own. Okay, and we're gonna start with their freshman. Okay, this man's a freshman, and I believe that from the short little bit that I've seen of him healthy, Paolo Banchero on the Duke Blue Devils is an absolute problem, man. This man's coming to the NBA, and his spring in his step, man, he can dunk like Anthony Edwards, and he can drain threes as well. And he's just very electric player. He's a very built player, and he had a great game against Gonzaga. Bro, I'm gonna die. I'm actually gonna die. I'm coughing so much. But yeah, and Duke beat Gonzaga 84-81. Paolo Banchero on Duke. Remember the name, because this guy's insane. And one more guy, that rhyme, by the way. Goddamn. And then one more guy as well, though, that you got to shout out. And I don't think this man will get very much hype at all. I don't think he'll get drafted. But in college basketball, Mark Williams, the Duke center, number 15, he's a menace to society. He really is an absolute menace to society. That's my college basketball. I mean, again, I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but I want to watch more this year. That's my college basketball analysis from this week. Okay, I watched 2 good games, and I got some good takeaways from that. Mark Williams on Duke and Paolo Banchero as well on Duke. Duke's got a lot of other really good guys, too, that I don't really want to talk about because I want to focus on the NBA, the MVP rankings. The MVP rankings, I love following the stories of the MVP rankings. There seems to be one guy who's really taking it over right now, and he's going for, I think it'll be his third of his career, Stephen Curry. And shit, he might take this one unanimously again. The way things are going, the Golden State, the way they're trending, they're en route to win, 74 games? I saw something on Instagram where they're on pace to win 74 games and lose 8 games this season, which would be an NBA record, beating their own record they set 4 years ago. But the MVP rankings right now, in number 1 is Stephen Curry. Number 2 is Kevin Durant. Number 3, the NBA's got Nikola Jokic. Giannis Antetokounmpo is in 4th. Chris Paul's in 5th. In 6th is Jimmy Butler. 7th, DeMar DeRozan. Then John Morant, Zach LaVine, and Luka Doncic filling out the 8, 9, and 10 spots in the MVP rankings. Let's start at the top. Stephen Curry. The NBA's got Stephen Curry currently atop the MVP leaderboard. And I think that you have to agree with that. That should be unanimous right now amongst everybody. Stephen Curry is a clear-cut MVP of the NBA right now. Okay, I had Kevin Durant as my MVP for a week too long. I will admit that. But for the last 2-3 weeks, really, it's been Stephen Curry. I mean, the Golden State Warriors are legit. They are legit. They've only lost 2 games all year. They've won 7 in a row right now. Their team is hot. And the thing with Golden State, the thing with Stephen Curry is they got no mercy. This team is averaging a point differential of plus 15. They are blowing teams out. I mean, they are mercying them. You remember you guys ever play 2K as kids, and the minute you go up 20 on your friend, the game's over. It's just mercy. All right, that's whatever. Because there'll be like 7 or 8 people all playing, all in the room waiting to play. And as soon as you're up by 20 points, man, game's over. You win. You mercy them. Golden State mercies their teams on a regular basis. They take no prisoners. Stephen Curry's a ringleader. He's putting up 28 points per game right now, 6 rebounds and 7 assists. This man is going crazy. Number 2 is Kevin Durant. The fact that KD and Steph Curry are the top 2 in the MVP rankings, and they were teammates 2 years ago. How do we let that happen? But Kevin Durant still, KD is still going off. Look at Brooklyn. Brooklyn's doing their thing. They're number 1 seed in the East right now, 14-6. Kevin Durant putting up 28 points, 7.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists per game. It's just Kevin Durant, easy money sniper. That's just what he does. It's pretty standard stuff at this point in his career. We're all kind of aware of what KD brings to the table. And right now, I think the top 2 players in the NBA right now, like there's one other guy who I'm going to talk about who I think might have a say about this, but I think the top 2 right now are pretty undeniably Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant as far as the top 2 best players in the NBA right now. One man who I'm going to talk about real quick here might have something to say about that. Before that, though, Nikola Jokic is 3rd in the MVP ranking for the 2nd week in a row. He's putting up 26.5 points per game, 13.5 boards a game, 6.5 assists per game. Jokic he's just built different. But his team has lost 6 games in a row, though. Keep that in mind. On the complete opposite trend of the Denver Nuggets is a man that might have something to say about KD and Steph being the top 2 players in the NBA. That's Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Milwaukee Bucks are healthy, and the Milwaukee Bucks are winning a lot of basketball games right now. And they're back. The Bucks are back. All right? And they're led by Giannis, who's putting up a casual 27, 12, and 6 right now. That's just a joke of a stat line. And the Bucks are 8-0 this year when their big 3 of Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis Antetokounmpo are all healthy and all playing. They've won 7 games in a row. They're back. They're healthy. They're 4th in the Eastern Conference right now, and they're quickly rising. I think the Bucks could win the East. They could finish atop the Eastern Conference right now this year, depending on how good Brooklyn is, how good Brooklyn does. The Bucks are back. They are. The championship hangover, no more. We're back in action. We're getting to the point in the season now where the real good teams start to rise. The cream rises to the top. You see that in both conferences right now. I'm going to be reacting to the standings a little bit later here real quick. But before that, we're going to finish the MVP standings. But the cream is rising to the top in both the Eastern and Western conferences right now. In 5th in the MVP race is Chris Paul. Welcome to the MVP race. The first time I think we've called his name in the top 5 this year for sure. Yeah, Chris Paul putting up 14 points per game, 3.4 rebounds per game, and 10.5 assists per game, leading the NBA in assists per game. Chris Paul, every single year, I think for the last 3 or 4 years, Chris Paul has been a top 15 player in the NBA at least, in my opinion. And he does so with everyone. When you're ranking your best players in the NBA, for me, Chris Paul falls between 10 and 15, somewhere, ballpark, 10, 15. You might have him a bit higher, might have him a bit lower. That's the ballpark where Chris Paul falls. The thing that makes Chris Paul so special is that when you're ranking your players, you're putting Chris Paul, who's putting up 14 points per game right now. It's probably going to drop to about 12 or 13. You're putting him right smack dab in the middle of a bunch of other guys above and below him who are putting up way more points than Chris Paul is. Chris Paul's talent is so good that he's one of the only players in the NBA, or one of the only real stars in the NBA, who don't score a lot of points. He might be the only one who's not putting up at least 15 for sure, but at least 20, 25. And he's so special. He's leading the NBA in assists per game. And Chris Paul just wins, man. This is what the guy does. Wherever he goes, he wins. The Suns started the season 1-3. And I sat in this exact same chair talking about teams that had gotten off to a slow start. And I said Phoenix has been going off to a slow start. Devin Booker's been struggling. Chris Paul's been struggling. DeAndre Ayton's been struggling. And since then, they've won 16 games in a row. They're currently 17-3. Second seed right now in the Western Conference. They got the second best record in the NBA. And they're being led by CP3, Rookie of the Year, 06, Chris Paul shit, as Drake once said. Chris Paul is going off. And for good reason, he's 5th in the MVP ranking. After that, Butler in 6th in the MVP ranking. His Chicago Bulls his Miami Heat are 2nd right now in the Eastern Conference, 13-7. DeMar DeRozan on the Chicago Bulls is 7th right now in the MVP ranking. The Bulls have been 5-5 in the last 10. They've lost one. They lost their last game. They're 5th in the East, but it's very close. Of course, the East is very close. And then Ja Morant's in 8th. Morant is having a breakout year. He's turning into a real superstar in the NBA. We can see that. It's in the headlights. It's on the horizon. Ja Morant being a top, he's going to be a top 10 player at some point in his career in the NBA for sure. I think we all know that. It's just a matter of when. His Grizzlies are currently at a 500 team. They got the same record as, percentage-wise, they're tied for 6th in the West right now. With being 500, and Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls, him and DeMar DeRozan, of course, talk about the Bulls. Luka Doncic in 10th right now in the MVP ranking. The Dallas Mavericks are quietly 4th in the West. There they are. The Mavericks are 4th in the West right now. They've kind of snuck up on us. The Clippers are 5th in the West too. Couple teams the way things are looking right now in the West, if the playoffs started today, we'd get Mavericks Clippers Part 3 in the first round, which would be super exciting. We're getting an actual rivalry now out of the Mavericks and Clippers, a rivalry that we never really saw coming. We always thought it would be Clippers versus Lakers rivalry, but it's Mavericks Clippers right now rivalry in the NBA. Okay, third time dying. We're back though. So that's the MVP rankings. All right, and quickly I'm going to go over before we end the episode off. Thank you very much, by the way, for watching. Subscribe, like, whatever, all that shit. Standings reactions right now in the NBA. The standings are looking pretty interesting. I already kind of mentioned this about the Milwaukee Bucks, but I'm going to just say it again, maybe a bit more clearer so I can clip this on TikTok without editing it as much. The Milwaukee Bucks are back. They've won 7 games in a row. Giannis Antetokounmpo is back to being an MVP candidate. That's what we all expected. And most importantly, this team is healthy. With their big 3 of Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis, the Bucks are 8-0. They're 4th in the East right now, and the Bucks are back. They don't have a championship hangover anymore. They started the season off pretty slowly, but this team is here, and they're a contender. The Milwaukee Bucks are always going to be a contender, 100%. The next one, there's 2 teams in the East right now who are kind of surprising me, and I genuinely have to ask the question, are these teams for real? The first team, the Charlotte Hornets, 13-9 now. LaMelo Ball is doing great things. The Hornets are 6th in the East. Are the Charlotte Hornets for real? Do you guys actually think the Charlotte Hornets are for real? Are they a playoff team in the East? Because they are currently 6th. You got teams like Philadelphia in 11th, Boston in 9th. The Hawks are in 8th. Cavs 10th. There's a few teams below Charlotte, I think mainly Boston and Philadelphia, who going into the year we thought would be above Charlotte come the end of the year. Of course, it's still early on in the year. Charlotte, I want to see them in the playoffs. Next team I want to see in the playoffs, the Washington Wizards. I'm quickly falling in love with the Washington Wizards this year. Bradley Beal's finally got his guys around him. Beal's finally got help. It's finally here. It's finally happened. Bradley Beal finally has help on the Washington Wizards. His team is 13-7, tied for the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. They've been a top seed in the East all year long. And what I love most about Washington is they are made up of players who were rejected and laughed at and memed and hated on for the past 2 to 3 to 4 years. This is the Washington Wizards. You got Bradley Beal, the guy, and then all his supporting cast are all the players that were laughed out of their team. Kyle Kuzma. People shitted on Kyle Kuzma all offseason long. They clown the man. They said he belongs in Shanghai. They dragged the name Kyle Kuzma through the mud. Kyle Kuzma. Montrezl Harrell was one of the most hated players in the NBA when he was on the Clippers. He went to the Lakers and it looked like his career was over. He was putting up like 7 points a game. He was doing fuck all in the Lakers, and he was despised on the Clippers. No one liked him on the Clippers. Spencer Dinwiddie. Everyone's always had respect for Dinwiddie. He got hurt last year, and Brooklyn didn't really need him anymore. They just kind of let him go. He's not there anymore. It's whatever. He's not in Brooklyn. He just wasn't seen as someone that was that important to the Brooklyn Nets. And now look up in Washington. And finally, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is also playing a very big role in this team. And KCP was one of those players, again, on the Lakers, like Kyle Kuzma, who was clowned and memed and just made fun of constantly on social media. Well, look at him now. 2 seed in the East. They're looking really good. Now, I want this team to continue winning. Again, it's Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards, and he's surrounded by a bunch of rejects pretty much. And they're doing great things. That's why I think, if you're a fan of underdogs, cheer for the Wizards this year. Cheer for the Wizards, not just for the team, but for the players as well. Out in the West, Golden State and Phoenix are looking like they're head and shoulders about everybody else in the conference. Golden State and Phoenix they're the 2 best teams in the West right now. It's not even close. These 2 are the best 2. And guess what? Klay Thompson's not back yet. Phoenix has won 16 games in a row. This streak could extend. I'll check real quick their upcoming schedule. I hate doing this because as soon as I check their upcoming schedule and I say, oh yeah, they could win that game, they could win this game, then they end up losing it. Their upcoming games, their next game is actually against the Golden State Warriors. They're recording this right now, November 30th, which is Tuesday night, guys. Golden State Phoenix on TNT. Will the streak end, man? It feels like it's the Undertaker coming in town, man. Is Golden State going to be Brock Lesnar? Who knows? But Golden State and Phoenix, heavyweight matchup in the Western Conference coming up this week. Minnesota isn't shit this year. This is weird. The Timberwolves aren't terrible. D'Angelo Russell, like I see, they had a great game against the Lakers the other day. Or was it against... No, that was a different game I was thinking of. D'Angelo Russell's doing... I was thinking of the Kings. D'Angelo Russell's doing great things. Karl-Anthony Towns doing great things. Anthony Edwards is great, bro. I drafted Anthony Edwards on my fantasy team. I'm so happy I did that. He's amazing. But yeah, that's gonna be about it for this episode of the Off the Dome podcast. The camera's just cut out, so if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry that you don't get to see my beautiful face. Say goodbye to you. But anyway, yeah, that's it from me. It's whatever. Feeling good, living better. Drake once said that. Ladies and gentlemen, peace out.